I think from that information, we've dropped Australia's circumcision rate of boys aged 0 to 4 is down to.
Welcome back. This is Max Roberts Answers Everything About Saving Our Sons, Part 2. So if you missed Part 1, please go back to watch that first. Where can people keep up to date on SOS? Because I know you talked a little bit about their Facebook and you can go there. I mean, I've checked their Facebook out and the updates are kind of slim to none there. And
Yeah.
because how do you join them? Like where are their plans? Do they have a schedule? Yeah.
So you would, if you wanted to join, it'd be Intact Network. So there's, with there being a chapter in each state of America, you would join that chapter, whichever state you live in. But so years ago, there was a director in each state. And over the years, some directors may have decided to give it away and not do any work or be a director anymore. And they may not have been able to find a replacement to take over. So there might not be an active state working in the intact whatever state. But and yeah, I I've been I've kept Intact Australia running. I don't know, one day I'm going to give it away, and I don't know whether I'll be able to find someone to take my place. So there may not be anyone to take over for Intact Australia when I decide to give it away. So that is what has happened in some states in America. But you can message that Intact chapter state, and there might be a director running it, and each state has a discussion group, and you could join and discuss things with other members of that state's group.
Yeah, definitely. I've remember me and Scott, we went and we messaged all the intactivist groups, all the intact insert state names. I
Yeah.
think we heard back from like one, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would be so let's say I'm trying to go help SOS or somebody else is trying to go and join SOS. Let's say they went and messaged their intact state and they heard nothing
Mm.
back. What would be the plan B if they heard nothing back?
You could email Saving Our Sons. They have an email address, and you could email them. And that would probably go to either Danelle or one of her, one of the board women, and they would get back to you.
Okay. Hopefully that
If
works out
you,
for them, hopefully.
yeah, and
So,
they would
okay.
suggest, they probably, if you haven't mentioned, they would ask what state you are in, and they could refer you to an active state near you that you could join.
Okay. So, I'm curious. When's the last time you talked to Danielle?
Oh, I was organising a table at a fair in 2020, just before COVID hit, and I was in contact with her a lot, organising that table, so getting merchandise for that. So it was just before COVID hit in 2020 that I communicated with her. And
Okay. Okay. So
yeah,
she's still probably around. I mean, it's been about, 4 or 5 years, but hopefully she's still around. Is she
yeah. Oh,
older? Is she older or is she uh
oh, she has a couple of teenage boys.
okay.
So yeah, so a mum around the age of, of having teenage boys.
Okay, so she could be like in her middle aged at this point. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay, awesome,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so I've noticed in some discussion groups, Danelle will occasionally sort of put a comment in and join in a discussion, especially on children's health issues, where mums have made a post about it, and especially with if other mums have just chimed in with their experience, Danelle might put a comment in, how to relieve a red foreskin and what best to do for that. So yeah, we'll hear from Danelle every now and then.
Okay, is she like a doctor or is she just a
She
person?
does have, yeah, she does have some medical background somewhere, I think.
Okay, okay. That's interesting. I wish there was like a place where people could learn more about Danielle, but I guess we're going to have to go through you
She does
forever
like
right
to
now.
be a little bit private.
Yeah, okay. So, why doesn't Saving Our Sons have like a YouTube or a video platform? Like,
Yeah, I don't think we've kept up that well with the with IT and the times. So we did very well back in the day on Facebook, and for some reason it's just stayed at Facebook. And I think you mentioned we dabbled in X a little bit, or Twitter it was back in the time, and then post stopped. But yeah, we're not that great on social media for keeping up on the latest trends.
okay,
And I
okay.
think it might be more to do with the fact that we're more of an older generation as directors and running Saving Our Sons more than there are no young younger people in Saving Our Sons. Not that I'm aware of, but there would be younger people and young mums in the discussion groups, perhaps, but not so much as directors making posts and in charge of social media.
Okay.
I know with me being director of Intact Australia, I'm not comfortable with a lot of the social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. I don't use them. I'm very comfortable with Facebook, and that's pretty much the way I like to keep it, but and stay. But and I think a lot of Intact network directors are pretty much the same. We might be of the same age and era.
Okay. You're doing pretty good on YouTube, by the way. I don't know if you look at your interviews and stuff, but quite a bit of people like
I
you for sure on YouTube. Um,
I think I look terrible on video, but
yeah, nah, you look great. You look fantastic.
just
But okay, so for Saving Our Sons, since they're not doing a whole lot of tech stuff, how many times do they have like a project per year? Is it just that one time in once a year in the Capitol they protest, or are they going out and are they
yeah.
protesting more and educating or whatever?
They were years ago, back in their heyday, I suppose, when Facebook was a lot more popular than what it is today. When Facebook ruled, they were able to get the message out to everyone a lot more. And they go, there was a time when they had a thing called SOS Odyssey, where a group of directors would go out on the streets just holding up signs and being very peaceful, not shouting out to people going past or anything, but just staying on the footpath, holding up signs, great big huge signs saying, keep your baby intact and just something gentle education. And they did that through a few different cities or a couple of states over there. That was, I might have been around 2017, 2018, around then it might have been. But since then, it's just mainly online. So Genital Integrity Awareness Week is the only thing they go out to do.
Okay, but they're not doing like pride parades or anything like that, just randomly
No,
anymore. No.
no.
Okay.
And Intact directors might organise a table at a baby fair every now and then. They'll do that. So it's pretty much that and the capital.
Okay. Well, Max, you have quite a few fan questions. I see four here. The first fan question, I think you kind of answered this already. It says, you could ask him what he knows about the Intact network that Intact Australia seems to be a part of. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that question at all. Like it's kind of
Uh,
open-ended.
okay, so the Intact Network has directors or a branch or a chapter in each state of America, as I said, and countries around the world, which Australia is part of that group. So there are different Intact, there's Intact Canada, Intact UK, Intact Africa, and a few different countries within Africa, where Intact Australia is just part of the Intact Network.
Okay. So another fan question is, does he think that the Intact network is working effectively?
Perhaps not at the moment. As I said, it was Facebook based. Facebook driven, and it's where we did a lot of our posts and getting our message out. And over time, a lot of the directors have just worn themselves out, burnt out, and left, and not been able to get themselves replaced to keep running a state chapter. So there's a vacant spot. So if any of your listeners wants to take up that thing of being a director, they can apply to Danelle at Saving Our Sons and take up post being in charge of a state chapter.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully you give me a bunch of these links so I can go ahead and link it down below so people can go and check that out if they want to.
Okay.
So, what would you be doing as like a director of a chapter?
Okay, so you would need to make regular posts on Facebook, and you could open up other social media platforms as well. Like you could open up a TikTok or an X or Instagram. I think I heard Instagram is very popular now. I don't know anything about it, but you could do other forms of social media messaging to get the message out. You could organise a table or a booth at a fair. What I did back years ago, I did a lot of advertising in parenting magazines, and you could any way that you can think of just to get the intact message out to people.
Yeah, okay, that's actually kind of cool because what I'm thinking of is if you're an activist and you're like, oh, I want to go do something for this movement, I want to run my own group, instead of going through
The
making,
the main
hmm,
is
what?
so the main theme though for the Intact Network or Saving Our Sons is gentle education. We don't want to be aggressive, using aggressive intactivism and using inflammatory words that could get new mothers offside. They're wanting gentle or just peaceful advice.
Yeah, so there's like guidelines. Like there's
Yes, yeah.
yeah. That makes sense. Because like I know quite a few people that are trying to just educate and trying to start their own intactivist group. And it's a lot to start your own intactivist group or any kind of group, period. And if
Mm.
you can just run off the brand name Saving Our Sons Intact New Hampshire, for instance, I don't know, that would probably help quite a bit. Like just the person trying to be able to influence people because now you have a whole not-for-profit backing you up. As long as you stay within the guidelines, hopefully no one here, if they do join, gets fired. Because I'm sure, has anyone been fired from Saving Our Sons that you know of?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay, so
No.
no one's
Everyone,
okay. Okay.
I think, there's no vetted is the right word, but everyone who's applied to join Saving Our Sons has had the same values and wanting the same gentle message put across. So we're of the same mind light of we're not aggressive intactivists. We're wanting to put a gentle message out to, and it's mainly new mums, expecting parents that are drawn to Saving Our Sons.
Okay. So on a male to female ratio of leaders, what would you say would be the percentage female to males?
Most of them are women
Okay.
that have been directors. I would say probably 90% of directors would be of women, and a few men have been directors.
Okay, well, hopefully we can get some of these women on to get interviewed. I'm super curious about what they do and stuff. So, well, that's awesome that you're willing to step up to the plate, Max, and answer these questions because a lot of people have really amazing questions that just aren't being answered. Like, for instance, though, I got a great fan question here. So, last time you were talking about the VMMC project that you're working on with Kennedy. A
Oh,
person
yes.
wants an update on how that's going.
Great, great. Kennedy had some fantastic feedback on all of the advertising that he was doing there, and it was heard, the radio ads were heard by a lot of people, and he got a lot of requests or messages through to his Facebook page, and a lot of messages saying they'd heard the ad and wanted more information. So hopefully he sent more information out to these people. Yeah, but he had fantastic feedback from the ads, and he has follow up. He does radio interviews. He has to travel to a radio station, but he does that quite often. And he'll spend maybe it's often a lot of people in Africa can't afford TVs, so they listen to the radio a lot more than what perhaps we would. So the radio is their main form of entertainment at night time. So he's gone on a radio time slot at night, maybe about 9 o'clock at night, 9 through to say 11, and spread a lot of intact awareness in that time slot. So he does that quite often.
Okay, and then I have one last fan question for the day. So this talks about CLR, which is circumcision law reform. So it's kind of an open-ended question. It is, what does Max think about CLR or circumcision law reform?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they do amazing work. So CLR have been responsible for getting the AAP circumcision policy expiry thing on that made official, and they've had a lot of impact on American hospitals to get the AAP statement taken down from their websites and so forth. So, and CLR have done a lot of work here in Australia to get a lot of false advertising taken off circumcision clinic websites. So, yeah, CLR are doing amazing work.
Okay, do you ever help CLR or
Where
no?
I'm in contact with them quite often, and we'll compare notes and discuss, quite a bit. In fact, Kevin has sent across. He did a check the other week on current circumcision rates here in Australia. We calculate our circumcision rates, majority being claimed on Medicare. So vast majority of circumcisions will be claimed on Medicare, and their rates have dropped dramatically. So I think from that information, we've dropped Australia's circumcision rate of boys aged 0 to 4 is down to about 7%. So
Oh,
that's a huge
wow.
drop.
That's really big. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great news. And that doesn't account though for circumcisions in above 4 years of age, or which is very minimal, or circumcisions that are not claimed on Medicare, which is also very minimal. So, but yeah, so that age group stands at 7%. So it's heading in the right direction. We'd like to see it drop further, and more work to do, but it's a good start.
Heck yeah. I mean, you guys are definitely doing a lot better than in America, that's for sure, especially since it dropped so much. All right. And Max, is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience before we sign off?
I think all of the intactivists in America are doing a fantastic job. Just keep doing what you're doing. All the different groups are doing great work. Intact America with what they do, Intaction. Anthony's doing fantastic work dealing with governments and legislation. And yeah, everyone, and America's circumcision rate is coming down as well. So that's good to hear. And yeah, everyone is doing great work.
All right. Awesome.
And I love your interviews and posts on YouTube. I'm not on your Discord, but I love watching your YouTube videos. So keep that up, Potts. You're doing great work as well.
Oh, thank you. And I definitely appreciate when you update us with what's going on with Intact Australia and Saving Our Sons and a lot of stuff because you do email me behind the scenes and I do give news out, which is awesome. So yeah, yes,
Fantastic. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, guys, that was Max Roberts, part 2 of Saving Our Sons. Let me know your thoughts by commenting down below. I will have Max and Saving Our Sons links down below in the description so you can follow them. Please give this a like and subscribe so you don't miss our other interviews. We release every week and so much more. Thank you for watching. Bye!